Alright, let's confirm.
You have a purple bib, dental bib, which is a tabletop cover. You have a writing utensil of sorts, whichever doesn't matter. You have a mask, whether it's a new one or a one from yesterday is fine. We're going to be wearing that for today. You have your journal. If you prefer to have a colored copy, the colored copies are over there by the purple pencil. Please help yourself, okay? You have your little baggie that has all of your cards. You're going to be using them all today. We're going to start with the square card, so pull that one out first. You have your little dots that you're going to be using. You have 2 nail files. We have a nail brush, your toenail cutter with a straight blade. You have your nail tip slicer. Yours is black and pink. Mine is silver, and you have your stork scissors. Okay? Does anyone need anything? Is anyone missing anything? Every class period is kind of at a different spot, so please remind me. We prepped your cards yesterday, yeah? Okay, your 1 square card? Okay. We put the sticker on it? Okay. We etched our file? Okay. Did we talk about how to use these individually? No, okay, perfect. All right, so that's where we're gonna go. I'll put my mask on in a minute so you can hear me good. But we've etched our files. We're gonna put those to the side in a quick second. All right, so we have our square. All my stuff's all dusty because I've done it twice already today. All right, so you have a square card with your name and your class period. You're gonna do that to all of your index cards, but you're going to put each one of the names of the shapes on your cards. So you should have 7 cards total, okay? All right. You either have your sticky dot cover, which I threw mine away, so if you do, you can just put your sheet on there. It's fine, so it doesn't get all dusty, or your little sticker backing, whichever. And you maybe have the one nail tip from yesterday we stuck on there. If not, it's fine. Today we're going to together do the square nail, okay? All right, here on the side, what I need you to do is I need you to take your writing utensil. I need you to draw a nail. Now, this is your notes. I'm not grading it as a note, right or wrong. For notes, it's that you do it. So for you, your finger might be upright. It might be pointing down. It might be going to the side like you learned it here. Whatever floats your boat, whatever's going to help you remember, you do what you need to do, okay? So what I need you to do is I need you to go ahead and draw a finger. You can do a short nail or you can do a long nail, and that's your choice. Thank you. Okay? So, draw the finger. I did my nail short, and I drew dad, which is square. Now, you don't have to write dad, but for me, it's going to help me remember that dad is the square nail. He's in the military. He's very sharp. Has laser focus, very straight. Okay? Straightforward gentleman, etc., etc. He has a flat top. So if I needed to make a little note saying that he here has a flat top, I can write that down. Whatever helps you remember. These are your notes. For me, it helps me remember to say that he's got 2 90-degree angles, and I drew the little angle on the corner of the nail where they go. That's going to help me remember. If that doesn't help you, don't write it down. If something else helps you, please, by all means, they're your notes. I'm going to give you a little paper clip, and at the end, we're going to paper clip all of these together. And this is your little cheat sheet. So if we're doing a test, or if you're working on a client, or whatever the case may be, if you get stumped, you're like, oh man, I forgot. How do you do that shape? Ma'am, I'll be right back. I forgot something about, you're with your client, you get up, you go to your locker, you go to your binder, you go to wherever, you go look at your cheat sheet, or you have it in your pocket, and you're like, oh, okay, got it. Go sit down and continue to do your service. When I worked at the salon, we had little mini lockers, they're about the size of yours, a little bit bigger, and they were on the wall, and I had my little mini binder in there, and I would have my notes, and when I was stuck on something, okay, where the step stroke perm, oh my gosh, I'd go and I'd look, okay, got it, and then I would go finish. fake it till you make it, okay? Eventually, I didn't need it, but at the beginning, I relied on that little binder a lot. So this is a cheat sheet for you. All right, so once you have your little diagram with the notes that you need, you're going to do that diagram on each of your cards for each of your shapes using your notes that we took yesterday, okay? Okay, so now that you have that, I'm going to put that to the side. I'm going to put my little paper so it doesn't get dust on it and it still works for me. I'm gonna do on this nail so you can see. I'm gonna do a big one, a white one, so you can see. But I'm gonna do all my examples here. You can use a or several nail tips, it's your choice. Okay, let's talk about our tools and how to use them. Yesterday we etched our file. In a minute I'll show you how to hold it and get you some tips. Alright, so here we have a nail tip slicer. Mine looks different than yours, but it's the same thing. It is ergonomically made to fit in your hand nicely. Okay? So yours especially, it's got a little divot and everything. There is a right and a wrong way in the direction that you hold it. If you have your nail tip catcher, the little plastic part on it, great. If you don't have it, don't pull it out. But if you have it, that's even better. Because when the nail tip catcher is here, where the side of the blade is, you will never use it incorrectly, in the wrong direction. Remember we talked about the hyponychium that's underneath the free edge? Turn it this way. This is what is called the guard. Go ahead and put your finger, don't cut, just put your finger right there, and you can feel it push up against your hyponychium. You can push your finger in as far as you can, as far as you want, unless if you have really chunky, cushy fingertips. When you cut this, when you cut it, you won't cut your finger. Because the guard is thick enough to where you won't cut your finger. If someone has hyponychium wall, pushing this in will hurt them. For me, I like it, feels good. I need to do all my fingers. Remember I told you my weird thing, okay? So, be aware of that. If I were to hold it this way, blade to the client, don't put your finger there. But imagine you would chop the finger. Okay, fingers gush and the blood will gush at you because you're holding it like this, cutting. Okay? Be cautious. Oh, so if you always have your catcher, you'll never hold it the wrong way because you can't put the finger through the catcher. Okay? Catcher. The catcher, I don't have it, mine's broken, and it doesn't have one for this particular brand, but for yours, it has little catchers, little plastic cover. When you slice a nail tip, they will fly, like literally across the room. So one, you can hit somebody. Two, it's unsanitary. Imagine the salon nails flying everywhere, landing on people. But three, then you gotta go sweep it, and I don't have time for that. So I'm gonna put my catcher. So when I'm done clipping the nails, that they're all in my catcher, and then I just throw that in the trash or on my tabletop, throw it away. Easy cleanup for me. Let's take a look at her blade. These don't really break. Yours really don't break. They might come apart, like this one. I need to tighten the screw because this is it's loose. But typically they don't necessarily break. They're pretty strong. Now, my blade. If I had, let's see who has nails in here. Eileen, you have nails? Say Eileen is my client and she wants to change her nails and I'm going to cut them off. I can use this nail tip slicer to cut her artificial nails down in length so I can remove them. But when I use that nail tip slicer, it dulls my blade. So after a while, it's not going to cut nice anymore. Right? Like the blades get dull. Old scissors, you got to sharpen them. So you can take the screw out, you can pull it apart, take this blade, sharpen it, or take the blade, toss it in a sharps container, a little red container back there, throw it away appropriately, and then put your new blade in. Don't just throw the blade in the trash. If the custodian grabs it and you just threw the blade in there and she's walking with the trash bag, she's going to cut herself, and if that blade is dirty and now she has a hole in her body, etc., okay? Throw it away properly, but you can change your blade. And you should change your blade. Now, I thought I heard knocking. Ever so often, you need to make sure to maintain your tools. So, clean them, wipe them, disinfect them after each use. But, clean them in detail. Okay, tighten the screw so that your things last you a long time. But for any kind of blade, whether it's a scissor, a clipper, a nipper, or whatever, they do need to be sharpened. Okay? They do get dull. This is not for natural nails. Can you? Yes, don't. It's not for natural nails. That's what you have a nail clipper for. Okay? Not for natural nails. Okay, let's take our nail tip. There is a right way and a wrong way to hold it as far as in which direction you're pushing forward straight up or pulling towards you. So if this is my client, I'm holding my client's finger. I've got my nail tip slicer. I want it to be straight. If I push it away from me, tomorrow we're going to play with it and you'll see what happens. It's not good. If you pull it towards you, it's going to give you a round tip. Just hold it straight. So I'm going to hold it this way so you can see. Just do the tip a little bit. Don't take too much off. Put your nail tip in there with the guard to the hyponychium and then just hold it straight and slice. And you should have a straight tip. If you tilted it away from you or you tilted it towards you, it changes the shape of what you cut. Tomorrow we're going to talk about if you held it crooked and all that stuff, but we'll do that tomorrow. Okay? That is how you use this tool. Okay, let's put that one to the side. All right, you will see, not that I agree, but I'm going to teach you about it. You will see people using the stork scissor, okay, or a scissor. This is a straight blade. Now, remember yesterday or day before, whenever, we talked about nail growth, how if you look at it like this, the nail is curved either down or upwards, but in some kind of variation or maybe flat. It's got some kind of curve. It's curved from front to back. Then we said, look at your nails like they're going to poke you in the eyeball. And then we saw the curvature of the arch, whether they're tubular or more arch or what, flat. Right? The nail is curved. And I'm going to use a straight blade to cut a curved surface. Look what happens. I'm going to try. Look how the nail bends. Look at how much stress I'm putting on the nail. Can you imagine on a real nail, you're lifting the nail up off of the nail bed, possibly damaging. I mean, look at that, right? It doesn't even curve the same way that it was curving. I personally don't like to use scissors on fingers of any sorts. That's just me. But if you're using a straight blade on a curved surface, I don't want it, right? You could. Yeah. You have a curved blade, a scissor from last year's kit that you can bring over. Yeah, you can use that. I still wouldn't use it, but you could. It's better than the flat one, okay, the straight one. Some people will, when they're going into these longer linked shapes, for the side, they'll take it and they'll cut. You don't have to cut yours, but they'll take it and they'll cut their side. So that way they get more of a, let me cut this off to get out of my way. You have a little bit more of a coffin, stiletto. I mean, you could. Remember, it's still a flat blade and a curved surface, but you could. All right, let's take a look at this tool. This is a toenail clipper. That's why it's so big. Toenails, in my opinion, they're still curved, so I still wouldn't use it because it's a flat blade. They do sell these with a curved blade. I would use those. But you'll see people use this, and they'll use it to cut the length like this. The nail tips do fly. You saw that, okay? They cut the length. So you can go ahead and take this, cut a little bit off the top, because remember, Dad has a flat top. This would be perfect to make a square. Unfortunately, though, sometimes with clear tips, when you're using a flat blade and you bend the plastic, you know, kind of turns like a whitish color. So if your client wanted a clear tip, oh dang, I just messed it up. They even crack sometimes, depending on the nail tip and what it's made out of. So now I gotta take it off, then I gotta get a new tip, I gotta glue it back on and start over, and flat blade, curved surface, it's just what. Another way that people use this, and I kind of like this a little bit better depending on my curvature of my nail tip, when they're doing their coffins and stilettos, they'll come over and they'll do this. And they can do a small corner, or they can do like the whole length of the nail clipper. You can cut the whole side or just a little bit. So see how I have two sides there, and it's perfectly straight. It's better than the scissor because the scissor, like, you know, you can cut crooked with scissors, but this you just one clip and you cut straight. For me, it's still, I wouldn't because it's a straight blade curved surface, but you could. That's how you'll see people do it. Okay? Questions on how to use those tools. Okay. Let's take one of our nail files and let's go ahead and begin a little bit of tips on how to file. Now, I'm not going to tell you how to hold it. You play with it and figure out what feels good for you, and then you pick that. Okay, that's how I'm going to hold it. I'm just going to give you some bits and pieces of how to work with the file. All right, I'm going to leave my mask on so you guys can hear me better, but you guys put your masks on. Okay, so we talked about the grit, right? About the numbers? Okay, if the number is low, if it's little, it's close to what? The ground. So is it rough or soft? When it's close to the rocks? Rough. And if it's a big number, it's up high, it's close to what? Clouds. Is it rough or soft? Soft. Okay? All right. So take one of your files. Now let's take a look at your file. If you take your file and you cut it in half, this file, this part right here, there are some files that they sell that it's like just long. It doesn't get wide in the middle. Okay? So this side is for people with little hands because it's a smaller bit. Okay? This side right here is wider. Do you see how it's squared? So sometimes they're not wide at the middle, they're just a rectangle. So this is for people with bigger hands because you got something wider to hold on to. You can hold on to it like if you're doing this from the bottom, or you can hold on to it from the top. Your choice. Okay? Now, this is about a $3 file. Okay? Some people will hold it like this and they'll file like this. Why? You paid $3 for it. Why are you only using 50 cents? That doesn't make sense, right? It doesn't. Go buy you a tiny little file that you're only going to use this big. Because remember, if Azucena comes in and she's my client, this is a disposable. I can't wash this. It absorbs bacteria. So if I only use this, all of this and all of this didn't get used, I'm either going to give it to her to take home or I'm going to throw it away. You're wasting your money, right? It doesn't make sense. So this is a way to hold it. Take your thumb. Okay, so there's a halfway point. That's why I love these, because the way they're on. Whether you hold it with the big side, small side, doesn't matter, okay? There's a midpoint. Put your thumb, this is half, this is a quarter. Put your thumb at the ball, where's this ball? And then put your pointer behind, and it's at the middle bit. Don't hold the file from the middle up. That's not right. Hold it from the middle down. About right here. Not a little bit more further down. If you hold it like this and somebody can come by and pop it out of your hand, that's too far down. Okay? Now, I'm going to tell you this, and it sounds crazy, but I want you to remember for the rest of your life, so I'm going to be real dramatic. Imagine you have a friend. Your friend is the nail. This is her face. The concrete is the file. Okay? And your finger is your hand. Imagine your friend. You have your hand, her head, holding with your hand. You're going to glide her face across the concrete. It's your friend, so you want to be gentle. When you push a little bit, you do a little bit of damage, right? You only skid the surface. Skim the surface. Let's say it's your enemy. Your friend, a frenemy. You don't like her no more. Okay? I'm not saying to do this, just as an example. Just play with me, okay? You're going to grab her head, and you're going to push down against the concrete, and you're going to push as you drag down. How much damage are you going to do? A lot, right? You can take out a lot of skin. Okay, just remember that crazy. Just remember. This is the nail. This is your finger. This is the concrete, okay? If I lightly push down with my finger, I'm going to remove a little bit. If I push with my finger, I'm going to remove a lot. If I got 30 minutes to do a whole set of nails, I got to push. Let's go. I can't be, I'm never going to finish, right? If I'm doing a little kid, they're more gentle. I can't push. I got to be gentle, be soft. The amount of pressure you push the concrete against the nail, the face against the concrete, is how much you're going to take off, okay? When you file with the sandpaper is what it is, you're removing length or bulk, okay? So always remember the pressure. All right, so whether you hold it with the small side or the big side, you always put your thumb on one and your finger on the other. Some people will hold it this way, this way. Some people will hold it from the top and go this way. Look, whatever floats your boat. Just remember about the pressure, and remember that if you're going to pay $3, use $3 worth. Now, here are your other two options. You're going to do strokes, which is like this. I'm going to do the top surface. You're going to go like this. 1, 1, 1, 1. I'm using the whole surface of the nail because I paid for it, and I got to push to get some pressure, and I got to go 30 minutes. Let's go. 1, 1, 1. Or, I don't got time for that. I really got to hurry, so then you're going to do what we call a seesaw. A seesaw, toot, 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 right? In this case, we're going to go straight because we're doing the dad's flat top. So we're going to go 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. You're using you're not like this. Toot, 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 toot. When you do this, it's because you're just working on a teeny tiny bit. And you don't want to take too much off. But when you do toot, 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 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, you're using the whole surface of the nail because you don't have time. Let's go. Right? And that nail stays on the surface of the file as you're filing back and forth, back and forth. Tomorrow we're going to talk about angles and all kinds of things. But right now it's just, you just get to it. Okay? Now, once you do the flat top, because remember Dad has the flat top, whatever method you want to use. Now, take your brush off, brush your fingers as well because all the dusties gets on your finger, and then flip it around, brush the bottom. Now, on the bottom, take your finger and scoop out the underneath because I guarantee there's plastic stuck on there. So, take your file and gently file it off, pinch it off, file, scoop it. Get that plastic and then buff it off, file it off. You can use the softer side, the softer grit. You do not want your client to walk out with plastic underneath the nail. That's tacky, okay? If it's something that just won't come off, take your nipper, clipper, scissor, fine. Be gentle. And then brush off. Don't forget, tap, tap, tap. And then also, ever so often, wipe your hands. I like to keep a little alcohol wipe or just a wipe near me and wipe my hands because I feel gritty all the time. It just works best for me. Okay? Questions. That is how you use your tools. That is how you file. That's how you hold your files. Okay? Alright, so once you get your little shape on your nail, mine doesn't match, I've been cutting the whole thing, but you're going to then put your nail, once it matches your diagram, on your little glue dot and move on to your next shape. Okay? Remember your white dust everywhere, or clear dust everywhere. Don't touch your face, your eyes, don't put your fingers anywhere in your body, ears, eyeballs, none of that. And don't dust your hands off on your lab coat because you're going to have white marks on your lab coat. Questions? Also, when you're filing, don't file like this, like your face and hair all up in there. Like, scoot back. Your client's hand is not going to be here. Your client's hand is going to be on the tabletop. Okay? Questions? Alright, I'm going to put some music on. I'm going to be over here on this end getting some things ready for class, but if you need help, please do not hesitate. I'm going to give you some time to explore how do you hold the file. Hold it from the different sides, different ends. Hold it from the bottom, hold it from the top. Seesaw, do 1, 1, 1, 1. what works best for you? Try using the other tools. I know I told you I don't like it, but you try it and see what it does. Does it bend the plastic? Does it turn it white? Do you like it? Does it work? Great, use it. Okay? Try and see and play with all of your tools as you're doing all of your 7 shapes. What you do not finish today, you will put in a Ziploc bag and take home with you. You can take your journal home with you or take a picture of it should you choose. Please bring everything back tomorrow. We will not have time in class to work on this tomorrow. So please, please, please make sure that you get it done at home or you work fast so that you can get it done today in class. I don't believe we have anybody coming in for reboot today. I need to check, so you should have plenty of space and time to get your work done. Any questions? Yes. No, that's a good question. The bottom you don't need to shape, just the top. That's a good question. Just the top of the nail. All right, I'm going to turn some music on for you.